Hey everybody, welcome back to what is now week 8. It's hard to believe we're about 50% through the football season already. I feel like it just started. It goes by so fast. But this week we want to give you some of our new start sits. We got, I think, a pretty solid group of people here that if you are not benching and starting these people, you're going to be missing out on points in either way. Obviously, the benches, you're going to avoid missing points, and starting these people, you're going to gain some points. And that was a tongue twister. All right, so I'm going to start out here. We're going to jump right into the quarterbacks. And the first starter we have lined up here is going to be Kirk Cousins. Kirk had a little bit of a down week this past week, but overall he's had a solid season. And he's going up against the Buccaneers, who are the 29th ranked pass defense as of week 8. So I think you'd be a fool to not start him if you're not already. I know he's kind of a fringe QB1 for a lot of people. This would definitely be the week you want to look at him as being a QB1. And the sit is the counterpart, Baker Mayfield. I don't care where the Falcons' pass defense is. Granted, it's not perfect. It's in the middle of the pack. He lost his top 2 wide receivers this past week. He's not going to perform at the level that he was. However, this obviously gives upside to the other wide receivers like Sterling Shepard and Trey Palmer or McMillan. And it also gives really big upside to Rashad White and Bucky Irving. But there's no way you replace the talent that is Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, no matter what you do. So I'm not expecting Baker Mayfield to maintain his top 5 QB play that he has had all season.
Yeah, no, it's a bummer. Baker's been great, obviously. I've been starting him over Justin Herbert in our one league, and now, unfortunately, they're more on the same level, at least for this week. I hope one of those guys, McMillan, Shepard, whoever it is, steps up. I don't think Baker's floor drops completely, but I wouldn't be surprised if his range is more like 12 to 15 points a week now.
Instead of the 20 plus he's been averaging all year.
Exactly. So he's not, unstartable, but there's definitely higher upside options this week.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to look elsewhere. He's operating at QB2 on the season, averaging 24.2 points. He's definitely not going to be at that level.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. And as far as running backs go, our start for you this week is Josh Jacobs against the Jags. So, fun fact about Josh Jacobs, last week he had broke his record for the most receptions for a player without a touchdown. It was 200 receptions that it took him to score a receiving touchdown.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, we had him as a sit last week, and he goes and does things he's never done before. But this week, we are against the Jags, who've been a terrible defense, just all around been a bad team. I think Green Bay is going to take a huge lead here. I like most Green Bay fantasy assets this week. Yeah, and I think Jacobs is going to see volume, and hopefully we see some goal line work again this week too. As for the sit, he's probably starting to move to most people's benches if he hasn't already. But it's Rhamondre Stevenson versus the Jets. Stevenson and the Patriots' O-line have just been absolutely atrocious. I think Stevenson's a talented player, but I don't think there's really anything he can do in that Patriots offense.
Yeah.
Short of breaking off like a long, check down pass from May, I don't see a lot of upside for him this week, and I'm avoiding starting him if I can. Asterisk here is if your RB depth chart is as weak as some of ours, you might not have a choice, but if I can avoid him, I'm going to.
Yeah, if you're still starting him at this point, outside of the first 2 games of the season, he's really just been not particularly great. And a big part of that is the New England's offensive line that has just rotated every single week to a new group of people. I've never seen a team have so many different offensive lines in one season. All right, moving on to wide receivers. Our start this week is someone that was flying off the waiver wire. I picked him up in 2 leagues. He had a solid week 7, with Deshaun Watson now out on the Browns, and that is Cedric Tillman. Jameis Winston is expected to be the starter this week, and I think he's just going to be airing the ball out, throwing interceptions and completions all over the place, doing what he does best. And I think Cedric Tillman's going to be one of those people that get to eat some of those receptions. They're going up against Baltimore. I know you hear the name Baltimore, you hear fantastic team. I'm expecting Baltimore to torch the Browns when it comes down to it, but that means the Browns are going to be airing the ball out too. And the nice little thing here is the Ravens have the worst pass defense in the league. They're sitting at number 32. So I'm expecting Tillman to have a pretty solid game overall. He's definitely a person that you could start in the flex spot if you're looking for a flex player, or if you got some players on bye week this week. He's someone I would eye to start. I am doing that myself. And our sit this week is Chris Olave. He's coming back. They've already said he's going to be coming back this week. He's going to be starting, coming out of concussion protocol. However, this is our hinge, is if Derek Carr is out. He has not been ruled out for this week. If he's a start, I would still start Olave, personally. You're probably going to start him anyway because you probably drafted him in the first 3 rounds. But if Carr is out, you're not going to be sitting in a good place. He's just going to be taking up a roster spot. You're better off starting someone else, like Cedric Tillman. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, keep an eye on the injury report and see if Carr is starting or not. But right now, he's sitting at doubtful, so it's not looking good because it's Friday. So if he is out, then Olave should be out on your bench.
Yeah, and the Chargers have been pretty good all season. They dominate the clock so well in every games that there's a limited passing volume available in games against the Chargers. So I'm avoiding him. I don't think it's a great matchup this week, especially if Spencer Rattler is the QB.
Is it Spencer or is it Shane?
Spencer.
All right.
Anyway, for tight ends this week, our start is going to be Cate Otton versus the Falcons. We know we said bench Baker Mayfield just because we don't know what his receiving floor is going to be. But I think the volume of the bulk of the passing volume in the Buccaneers offense is going to shift to Cate Otton. Yep. He's a quick underneath target. I think he's going to take a lot of the targets that Godwin was taking previously. Obviously, he doesn't fill the same role, but I think he's going to have a pretty safe floor for the next couple of weeks here, and I like the matchup against the Falcons.
He got the passes next to White when both of them went down.
Yeah, no, I think I feel like the Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker merry-go-round will continue, but as far as pass catchers, I think Otton's the safest choice there.
Yep.
And for sit, this is hard for me to say because I have him in a few leagues, but Sam Laporta against the Titans. I just think the Titans have a good defense, and Laporta is not seeing enough target volume or target share to really justify a spot in your starting lineup anymore. The caveat is you might not have anyone better to play, which is very fair. But if you do, you have Njoku, you have like a Cate Otton on your bench that you could plug in for a week. I'm doing that over Laporta. I just don't think. I think he's going to be a touchdown-dependent option rest of season.
He's definitely not getting what he got last year. And it's kind of crazy because Goff is playing like the best football of his career, and nothing is going to Laporta. So, yeah, we'll see obviously how this week pans out. We're pretty confident in the picks that we put out there this week. I am definitely abiding by some of these. I'm starting Kirk Cousins. I am benching Stevenson. I'm starting Tillman. I'm expecting these guys to have some pretty good games, and that just shows you that you could still find people on the waiver wire this late in the season, as I know a lot of us have to. All right, so that'll wrap it up for this week's Start Sits. We will see you guys after the games.